All right, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you guys are doing okay. Hope you had a great day yesterday as well. Welcome to the pre-market show. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing this morning? Besides a little tired.
I'm doing good, Carlos. Thanks for asking. Looking forward to the day today.
Excellent, excellent. So if you guys don't know, Peter yesterday had, or this morning, right? You had to drive home with no power steering for a
Yeah,
couple of miles.
yeah, yeah. Well, after a couple hundred miles, I think I had a hose that burst. I mean, that happens on older cars, and yeah, I noticed when I was shifting the clutch that it was no hydraulic fluid whatsoever in the car. So a very long drive home last night. Didn't get home till 3 a.m. So we'll be taking it cautious this morning for me trading because, as you all know, unlike Andrew, who seems to get no sleep and has fantastic days, I've learned that my trading is not as good when I'm tired. So I'll be careful.
All right, excellent. All right, guys, so let's get to it. Let's look at what we had yesterday. We definitely had a pretty exciting watch list. So a lot of stuff on there. It was a little choppy at first, but we'll go through it, the details. So here's what we had as regards to our watch list. Our gappers list today is quite strong. So you can see here we got quite a bit. We got one up 138, up 15, 6. We got this one down 8.5. So again, we got a lot on here. Oh, that's a real low float. But we'll go through this. We have a lot on here to go through. Then we'll look at our Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers, and we'll see what we can get out of this today. All right, so let's start off with RIO. So Rio here, this is one that, again, had a pretty nasty daily chart, and actually it was one that I forgot what it was, but this was one with the miners, right, Peter? I believe. Is this one, or am I confusing this one?
No, that's definitely one of the big miners.
Yeah, this is one of the big miners here. So again, just didn't have the best pre-market action, but we didn't have a lot of great stuff to watch yesterday. It was a very choppy and slow day. If you look at the SPY, we'll look at the SPY and AMD. You can see how choppy those were trading at the open. So again, didn't really give you much here. And this is what happens with these type of stocks that not really don't really have a good daily chart. Popped up here, then it's just sold off nicely. But there's no real clean opening range break up here. There's no engulfing crack. There's just nothing here that says, hey, it's a good entry to go short or long, right? So something like that, again, it's just very difficult to trade. MGI, as you can see here, this one was very choppy at the open. Andrew traded this one and finally was able to catch this drop here. We had this level right at 315, and we were hoping that it would break that and head down to this 293 we had here from the daily. But again, just chopped around, couldn't get above VWAP. Andrew took a short in this area here. Let's get this the right size. Here we go. In this area here, and was able to get this nice drop to 315. Then it bounced from there, and it looked like it was just kind of just chopping around. So not a really clean move. And again, we talked about this, and Andrew did as well in the chat room, how these stocks that have a higher float, right? This is I think 30 million shares float, so it's not a low float, and they're lower price. They don't move much. They don't trade very well, and we saw that from MGI today. MGI traded well 2 days ago, but didn't trade well yesterday. AMD, guys, had a beautiful opening range breakdown. You had this nice pop towards the top. On the way down, you can see it starts losing the VWAP, and it became a beautiful opening range breakdown. Let's get the number 1 minute chart in here as well, so you can see the action there. Again, just very, very clean. On the one, you can spot your entry. You got a small engulfing crack on the one, but you can see this beautiful test of the VWAP right in here. Again, one more test, and then it just really starts dropping down, breaking the low of the day. So just giving you 2 opportunities to get in for open range breakdown of the 5 minute here. So beautiful drop all the way down. Then from here, it starts getting a little choppy, right? It gives you a signal of a reversal, higher highs, higher lows in this area. Gets to VIA, but doesn't really take off from there. Comes right back down, and again, just look at the wicks on AMD. Just kind of telling you how choppy things were yesterday. And then I want to show you the action later on in the day. I mean, this is, oops, went too far. I want to show you the action later on in the day because it kind of shows you how choppy overall AMD was. No, that's not it. We are right in here. Yep. So look how choppy this was, right? Again, just no direction at all, just chopping up and down, up and down. Then eventually we got, the news started coming out that from the call you have this beautiful squeeze here, but again, just not really a good tradable pattern. If you were looking at the price action closely, you notice that this was not clean at all as well. Here's MU. MU also a nice drop. A little more difficult to catch this opening range breakdown because it does run and leaves you behind, right? There's no pullback here, not even on the 1 minute. There's no pullback at all. The last thing you want to do is chase something that keeps heading that pulls back and then gets you stopped out. So the opening range here is just way too big. It's too much. It's too overextended. Very difficult to take this here for a short because the risk to reward is not there, right? That's one thing you'll have to constantly be paying attention to. What's my risk to reward here? And again, it's just that at that point wasn't a good one because it was just so extended from VWAP and it has such a hard drop. Then you can see some of the chop here. Some people getting shaken out here on this 5 minute. Again, just not really clean trading on MU as well. Facebook, on the other hand, traded cleaner later in the day. Had a nice little pop here above VWAP, kind of wedged here. A lot of people called this out in the chat room. You had a nice little wedge happening here, making higher highs, higher lows. So it gave you a clear indication of a possible pop. Robert also called this out as well in the chat, and you see clearly here at least VWAP and almost heads towards the high of the day. So that was a very clean squeeze here. Now coming down here again, you had a possible opening range breakdown. You got a pullback right to VWAP, which is this area here. So that could have been a good entry for sure with a good risk to reward, risk slightly above VWAP, and then your reward heading down towards this level here. So again, that one was a clean one there. Let's look at Apple, see what Apple did. Apple, again, they all had the same similar drop, right? You had this drop here. This could have been a good open range breakdown. But on the one, you could rarely time your entry, right? Where do you want to put your entry on the one? It's just not clean. So then after that, you can see the pure chop right below VWAP, which a lot of the stocks did yesterday. Again, and we expected we were going to have that type of open yesterday. So it was very difficult to find opportunities. Here's Roku. Roku again, same thing, nice drop here, but then after that it just becomes choppy, and you can see it's just chopping around the VWAP. We had X hit our scanners, and also Andrew and some other people had it on their watch list. This was probably one of the best opening range breakup because it was clean. Right here you see the 5 minute gives you a nice pullback. Here's a great entry for a long. And then it squeezes up nicely. And then also you can see on the 1 minute, very clean consolidation here happening after it sells off, comes back up. You get this beautiful consolidation here. Andrew got in here. William got in here. Check out those recaps. Andrew, a great example of Andrew not being able to manage his trade correctly because of interruptions, right? So again, sometimes you're in a perfect trade. If you get interrupted, your psychology and your process is completely thrown off. And that happened to Andrew yesterday live. When he was interrupted by room service and things like that. Just, again, how things, and it could happen to anyone. You could be home and your parents could show up and say good morning or something. It's just things that happen that can throw your game off. So beautiful trade there by William. He was able to manage this and take profits at the top. So that's what we have. Go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to add to that, if you guys haven't checked out William's video, it's actually a great demonstration of how two traders, professional in their fields, can take it differently. And he said, the interruptions and the psychology can affect everybody, no matter what level of trading you're at. So that's a good little video as a reminder. So
yeah, absolutely check that video out. It's a great video. And again, just like you said, just shows you how two traders could trade something differently. Just because one got interrupted and threw off their psychology, it could be in the exact same trade and can manage it differently. All right, guys. So let's look at the SPY. Peter, I know you're probably haven't been caught up with all the news yet, but anything happening today? I see the SPY is up quite a bit, 1%.
Yeah. So the global markets are up. The big news around the world really was the Fed meeting yesterday. So Powell's comments indicated an indication potentially to change interest rates, to lower interest rates. However, we have to keep in mind the Fed didn't actually change the rates. What's noteworthy and I think may cause some volatility or at least uncertainty in the markets is that they didn't have a unanimous vote. Usually when the U.S. Fed votes on interest rate changes, they try and align all the wagons, make sure that's unanimous. I know that the St. Louis Fed chair actually voted to reduce interest rates by a 0.25 percentage point, but he was overruled 8-1. So all that means is that there is a difference of opinions within the U.S. about how they should be managing interest rates and therefore the impact on the market. Now, that being said, so the global markets are all up this morning, all pretty much all green. Which means that there is some positivity out there, and we're seeing it, of course, in the SPY as well. So that should Well, I mean, that should bode well for the morning, but I'm still expecting a little bit of a choppy morning because there's also other things happening. We'll get to specific stocks, but we've got a big IPO today. Nobody knows what to expect out of that, and then some news and some other companies. So we'll get to those in a minute.
Excellent. All right, guys. So let's get into our watch list. Let's look into our gappers list, see what we have there. We have quite a bit. So let's find out which ones are actually moving independently or are actually stocks in play. So let's start over with ED. I'm going to put this one on the bottom because I know this one is already 300,000 shares float. So again, very risky. So EDSA up 143%, 888,000 shares traded so far. So pre-market action for the low flow team is looking very good. Looks like they've been getting some momentum over the last couple of days. Had a nice pop here, kind of held, and now we're squeezing up again and breaking out here one more time. So let's look at the daily chart, see what we have in regards to possible activity. So yeah, so this is no stranger to higher price. You can see here it's been traded at 45, 30, 25 bucks in the past. So you got some levels you can play off here on EDSA. So EDSA, what kind of company is this, Peter? What's going on with them? FDA approval looks like.
Yeah, exactly. So they're another drug biotech company. They got FDA approval to run some trials on a drug. This is a very low float stock, though, so I advise everybody to be careful on it.
Yep, absolutely. Got to be very careful against guys. We're talking about 371,000 shares float. I'm not even going to watch this one. It's just that because you get the fear of missing out, right? You start seeing this popping up and moving nicely, and it just builds up on that fear. I'm not even going to watch it because if I could take back all the money I have lost on low floats, I'll probably be driving a Lamborghini. So let's look at MLNT, also one that is a low flow as well. This one, right? This one, if I recall correctly, what is this one? Yeah, 8.4. So not as low as the one before. MLNT. Let's bring it down here. So this is up 20%. 1.6 million shares traded. Again, guys, this is again a low flow. Got to be very careful. It's had a big day yesterday. Looks like it's putting another big continuation day today so far. Got some really good volume and up 20%, and we got some levels in here also. So we'll come back to that. We'll get some levels for the low flow team, but again, be really, really careful with this one here. Oracle is next. All right, so Oracle is up 6.3, so that's quite a bit for Oracle. 308,000 shares traded so far. It's got a nice little pop over here. We traded Oracle in the past. My experience with Oracle is that it doesn't trade very clean. Peter, what's the reason for these guys popping up today?
Yeah, so first I agree with you that Oracle doesn't trade clean, so I find it a tough trade. But they had their quarterly earnings, so they beat their estimates and raised their guidance for the year. So that's leading to the gains we see this morning.
All right, that makes perfect sense. Pre-market action right now not looking too great. You got a lot of the volume sitting in this one candle here, 101,000 shares traded. Again, but not a really clean pre-market action right now. But I do like the daily chart. Daily chart has a nice little pop here. Looks like we left some levels of resistance. We blew right through them. So that could be interesting. This is all-time high for Oracle. It looks like it might be. Yes. Yeah, I think so. Oops, that's not good. There we go. All right. Yeah, so all-time high. That makes it interesting. I don't see anything towards the left around these levels. So let's look at BYND. So BYND is up 4.8, 211,000 shares traded so far. Again, this stock is a monster. Let's look at the daily chart, see what we're doing here. So again, we popped up, made a new high, all-time high at around 202.55 or so. Then here now we're having this this kind of bounce back day. So again, could be a continuation to get back to these levels, hit 190, 186. We got plenty of levels here that we can hit off. Again, just very strong. Pre-market action looks amazing right now. Again, this stock is a little more difficult to trade. It could be a little choppy, but it is definitely one that is in play today. STM, as you know, guys, this is one that doesn't trade well, so it's a foreign stock. So just wanted to show you guys what it looks like. STM. So you see the choppiness here. Has 128,000 shares traded. It's up 4.2, but it's really crap compared to the other stocks. So here's your daily chart. This is what we're talking about. It's a foreign stock. Doesn't trade very well. Next we have BABA. BABA is up 2.9, 226,000 shares traded. Kind of remove these levels. The daily chart does look good though. I don't like to trade BABA, but the daily chart here, you can see it's got Nice little support area finding here. It's just popping up nicely. You got a moving average that's trying to get above, and then you got some very clean levels. You had a very big resistance on BABA here, which is this line right over here. You know, they tested that 2 days ago. They tested it. It has some good resistance, and today we're breaking out of it. So that's a good sign that this thing might want to go higher, and you got some clear levels towards the top that you can get to if we can break from this moving average here. So pre-market action not looking great. Could be just because of this wick here. It's just throwing things off a little bit. But again, we'll see how BABA develops later on today. Next we have MU. So MU is also up 2.6, 114,000 shares traded. As usual, not much volume on MU. So let's look at the daily chart, see what we have here. I'm just going to remove these levels. Again, it's got a good daily. We saw this possible breakout. Had kind of like a double bottom on the daily chart here. Had a big day 2 days ago, sold off yesterday, but we're right back at this point of resistance that we've seen over the last couple of days, right in this area here. So again, higher highs, higher lows on the daily. This looks like it really wants to break out of here. The markets are up, so that's also a possible way that it can help this. And you can see here a very clean level we can get to around 36. So MU's daily chart looks very interesting, guys. Again, the pre-market action always looks the same, not great, but you know these guys are going to get the volume possible situation where they can break out of here. MT is the same as ST. I'm not going to pull it up, but same thing. Foreign stock that does not trade well. Right in here, TOT. Let's check out that one. TOT, not much happening. Has volume, right? 219,000 shares traded, but look how 189 of that is sitting right on this candle here, at least 169, right? You have here's the trade that's happening here. It's just a huge block trade there, not really creating any type of price action, so not really in play. Also looks like a foreign stock. Horrible daily chart, so I've never seen this one before, but again, not one that we're going to trade today. Let's look at AMD. So AMD also has a very clean, nice daily chart. You also have higher highs, higher lows here on the daily. Possible area of levels that we have from the previous pre-market show. We have one here, 31.93, 33.11, and also one all the way up here as well. So very clean levels. We have a lot of support in the bottom. So again, just the day looks good on a possible breakout. Let's see what the pre-market action looks like. Pre-market action is pretty flat right now. It's just kind of consolidating here. It doesn't look as great, but again, you got some real good volume and a real nice daily chart. So I do like the way AMD is setting up. If the markets are strong today, even though this can trade with the markets, if the SPY continues to head higher today, and I think the SPY is at all-time high as well, this can move some of these stocks with it also. Krone, we haven't seen Krone here in a while. So Krone is up 2%, 124,000 shares traded. Daily chart's been kind of calling some kind of chop, not really creating a nice pattern here. But again, you see this in a lot of charts today. You get just higher high, higher lows, just kind of squeezing into the point where they had a very clear resistance, right? So a lot of possible opportunities for breakouts today on the daily. You can see this one here around 6, where the price action is at right now, actually 16.16. Just a very clear level of resistance. So let's see, that's a good one to watch maybe in the mid-morning. Pre-market action right now is non-existent, guys. There's no activity happening here. Just not great at all. Next we have CCL. So CCL is down 8.9, 301,000 shares traded so far, so that's good. We have a lot going on here. Just going to remove these levels. This is a nice big drop today, Peter. What's going on with CCL?
So CCL is another one that I've found traditionally doesn't trade all that well, but they have news today, so they also had their earnings. So they actually beat their quarterly estimates, but they reduced their full-year guidance over the U.S. ban of travel to Cuba, which is going to affect, this is Carnival Cruise Lines, so it's going to affect their ability to service. Obviously, they can't go to Cuba anymore, so they've given a little bit of warning that their full-year guidance is being reduced.
Yeah, so it just, again, you hear this type of news, right? All right, so it's only Cuba. So Cuba drops your stock 8.9. You know, this doesn't sound too strong, right? So who knows what can happen here? But again, down 8.9 today. So we'll see what happens out of that, guys. This will be in play. But my experience is just as yours. CCL does not trade very well. But again, guys, do not have any bias. Again, this thing, although it looks weak right now and it's down, you do have shares for short. Wait to see what happens at the open. Before you start deciding you're going to go short on this one here. So nice big drop. We can see we have, and you can tell by the daily chart too how it's not as clean. but you do have some levels here we'll find in a second. We'll get into those details. All right, so let's get in here. What else? Did we miss anything else on the ZYME? It's popping up in our gappers as well. Up 5.6, 110,000 shares traded here. Again, doesn't look like a very clean daily chart, very choppy, right? What I mean by that, not a clean daily chart. If you look at this range here, you can see how choppy it is. Some of the wicks, you have more wicks than bodies, right? So just that usually creates very intraday chop. Here you got some 2 days that look great, but overall, everything else just seems very, very choppy in this area. Pre-market action, they don't have great volume right now, only 110,000 shares traded. Do have some kind of range happening here. If this had more volume, probably could look a lot cleaner. So definitely keep an eye on it. They're up 5.7 today. Any catalyst behind this one, Peter, this morning?
Yeah, it's a secondary offering, so they're issuing actually quite a significant offering, about 5 million shares, it looks like, being that it's only a 30 million share float. That's a significant portion at $18. So you got to we'll watch the price around there and see how it reacts.
Excellent. All right, now we have another one coming up here. So let's look at YY, see what's happening with that. Just barely cracking over 100,000 shares, up 2.2. Pre-market action is not looking great here neither, guys. Again, it just looks like a foreign stock also, so I'm not sure what's up with this one. But all right, we'll skip down. It doesn't look great. All right, guys, let's look at our Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainer. So MLNT we have for the low flow team here, popping up real nice. Looks like it wants to crack above 8. Again, strong day yesterday. We continue today with another strong day. EDSA also up on some approval, FDA approval. So we can see here it's popping up nicely. It's got some good volume. We have that down as well. AMD just chopping around, but I do love the daily chart on AMD, so this is good. We'll keep that there. GRFS, what's going on with this one? Okay, so this is a great example of a block trade, right? We can see here clearly is gapping up 1.3, 783,000 shares, but again, that 783,000 shares is right here. Just one huge block trade at 1973, not creating any type of price action. All right, so Nasdaq ETF, IDXG, not much going on here. Penny stock, Nasdaq ETFs also, volatility index, which probably should be down a bit today, right? I'll assume, yep, down 3.2. All right, because the markets are hot at the moment. GNCA, the last one on this list here, down 7.3, 416,000 shares traded so far. Let's look at the daily. Oh, this is brutal. Look at this here. Look at this gap. And then look at this drop. So this is like it's heading right back down to where it came from. What's the GNCA? What is the flow on this one? 13.9. All right. So low flow stocks. I don't have shares for short. It is on short selling restrictions. Not really giving you a good pre-market action either. And again, the daily just looked brutal. I don't see any type of strategy being set up here on this one. So we'll skip this. All right, let's go over to Nasdaq gains. PECK. Not much happening there, no volume. EDSA we have, that's the monster for today. Again, very low flow, guys. Be very careful. DMAC, as you can see here, 151,000 shares traded so far. Let's see what the flow is on this one. DMAC. All right, 10 million shares flow. Daily has a nice little breakout here above 370, looks like. Not much activity happening right now, though. Doesn't have a lot of volume compared to some of the other stocks. But in the pre-market action, not looking as clean neither. Like you have an EDSA. This looks clean, has a good volume, good activity. Again, very risky. And MLNT also has good activity, good risky. So for the low flow team, these are the twos to watch today. DMAC could be a possible, but again, just not great pre-market action. ALIM, not much happening here, no volume. GHSI, also not much going on. MLNT, we have KERN. KERN is, we got some movement here. Why is this one not on our gappers list? Maybe the float. Oh, it's a recent IPO, looks like, because I don't have a flow for this yet. What is the float on KERN? This one looks active today. 220,000 shares traded so far, up 22%.
Yeah, it's an IPO in the last couple of days, as you can see there. I don't know what the float was when it was released. So that was released on what, Tuesday, I think, is when it went active. So
Yeah.
um, I haven't watched it, but Devin here is saying that the spread can be huge. So might be interesting to take a look at. But yeah, it's another one to be very cautious with.
Yeah,
There's
this
another one,
is.
STOK. STOK was an IPO yesterday, and we'll see what happens with that today. But it's on my
Which
it's
is
on my
that one?
list to take a
X.
peek.
Which is that?
S is in STOK.
STOK. All right, so this one's all opened up here, popped up, and it's down. Yeah, this one is a little. This one's will be interesting to see what happens there. But KERN, I mean, this is crazy. This thing opened up what at 10, 12 bucks at 60 today. That's just
Yep.
insane. So the spread in the pre-market action doesn't look great neither. It's almost $1. So be careful with that. So thanks for pointing that out, guys. And also you can see the pre-market action is not looking great. Recent IPO, guys. So um, interesting to watch what it does. I'm going to put it on here just to watch what it does, but I'm not going to trade this one or STOK. But interesting to see how these trade today, just for entertainment purposes. What do we have here? DGLY, penny stock. Not much activity going on there. Let's head down to what else we have here. This just popped up here. They have a W and a regular. What is that about? Not sure what that means. Actually, they're both going to the same. They both have the same thing. All right, so they have a lower price stock. This KERNW has a lower price stock. Looks like. So again, very very weird. Never seen that before on an IPO. All right, so next we have SNES. Last one here, also a penny stock, not really doing much. So we'll skip that one. All right, guys, we got quite a bit here. A lot of green on the screen besides CCL. So let's see what we can get out of this today. Peter, what do we have for announcements this morning?
Just one or two other stocks I want to mention before we get to those announcements. Yep. We've got Kroger, which hasn't moved yet, so it doesn't usually have good pre-market action. KR is the symbol on that.
KR.
They have they announced today, so they beat their estimates but maintained their full year guidance. So it doesn't always trade very well, but sometimes you can get actually some big moves on it. So I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it, but at this point, I don't have huge hopes for it. Mm-hmm. The other one that we don't trade often because it's just a super high price stock, but Google. This may be a sympathy play, but just be aware that there's news on Google. They're launching their Waymo service, and if you're not familiar with their Waymo service, it's actually a driverless taxi service that they're launching in France and Japan, which makes it a direct competitor to Uber and Lyft. So it'll be interesting to see if the markets have any reaction to that. That announcement, I think, came out last night, but I mean, we may get nothing, or we may see some reaction as a result. And then the last thing I'll just mention is, of course, we're all probably aware of Work, WORK, which is the Slack IPO. It's priced at $26. It's a weird IPO. They're calling it the non-IPO IPO because Slack actually isn't raising any money out of this the way they've issued the offering. But what's significant is that the company has jumped in pre-IPO valuation from about $7 billion to a current estimate at $17 billion.
Wow.
So they've added $10 in market value. So 2.5 times the value of what the company was valued at just 2 months ago, and they haven't even IPO'd yet. So keep in mind, the target IPO price as it stands right now is about $26. So we'll see what price it opens at and what happens. Like anything could happen, right? This could go sideways, it could drop, it could skyrocket. Like right now, we have no idea, but it'll be interesting to watch when it opens. And we will announce that in the room, of course. As soon as it opens, I will let everybody know.
Yeah, no, that type of change. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, that's a big evaluation, so.
No kidding. So in terms of room announcements, guys, we are Thursday today, and we are a day away from meeting in Montreal. So Montreal, as we've been mentioning, is the Trader Summit that's happening on Saturday. But Friday, tomorrow night, we are having a meetup for all BBT members and aspiring members. So if you're interested in trading, you're anywhere near the Montreal area and want to join us, we will be buying you appetizers and drinks. I'm even throwing in appetizers now. I'm sweetening the pot. So, but we love to see our members when they get out there, and sometimes they bring individuals who are just curious and interested. It's a great opportunity to talk with like-minded people, share war stories, just have a drink and socialize. So if you can join us in Montreal tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, that would be fantastic. I will be there. Norm will be there. Andrew will be there. Well, I think William's there. So we'll have a good group to meet you, and you can put some faces to some of the voices you hear all the time. Saturday, as you mentioned, Andrew is speaking at the summit. There's actually a number of good speakers. Of course, from our perspective, Andrew's the headliner, and he's actually got a fantastic topic, and that'll be a great presentation. So that's the Trader Summit on Saturday. If you can't make it in person, there is still time to sign up. I think they've got a web live simulcast they'll be doing of that, so that's something you can sign up at the Montreal Traders Summit website, and I think Adriel's got some links for that up above. Just a reminder that we will have a Dr. Steenbarger who's going to be visiting us and talking with us. So that's for BBT members only, but that's on Friday, July the 26th. So we're asking you to submit your questions in advance. We'd love to just understand what your questions are, help him get prepared, and think about it. There's some great things. He's an expert in trading psychology, trading systems and strategy. So there's no bad questions. So think about them, get them submitted, and that'll be a fantastic session. Mark that on your calendar. I don't have a time for that, but we'll let you know, I guess, as soon as we've scheduled the exact time. And last but not least, tonight is Class 5. So Carlos will be leading that, I think. Are you, Carlos?
Yes.
That's yours?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. All right. So it is Risk Management Week. So the class is on risk management. Andrew's presentation is on risk management. So it's a good time to think about the risk that you're undertaking on every trade and how to best manage that. Because frankly, success in trading has a huge part in how do you appropriately manage your risk. So that's at 8 o'clock Eastern. So it's 8 o'clock market time, 5 o'clock Pacific. Today, right here, it'll be in our classroom. So join us for that for all our members. And I think that's it for announcements.
Yep, that covers it. All right, folks. So let's get to this list. Let's try to make this a little more fine-tuned. Again, we have a lot on here today. The markets are up, a lot of green on the screen. So this is causing a lot of stuff to move. So our job now is to find out which ones can give you the best opportunities to have a good trading, some good volume, some good price action that we can take advantage of. So let's start with Oracle at the top here. So Oracle again, 6.7 up this morning, hitting all-time highs. So that makes it even more interesting. All-time high right now sitting exactly at 56.30, right, which is the high of the pre-market. So we'll mark that down. Low of the pre-market sitting right over here around 55.11. Which again was the last area of some resistance right on here, right? You have possible breakouts in this area here. We can mark these as possible levels of support in case we head back down before we make a run towards the all-time high. That could happen as well. 55.54. You can see he's breaking out from the pre-market high now, so acting very strong at the moment. So pre-market action is not looking too great just yet, but Oracle is one of those stocks that, it doesn't move, doesn't trade very well. It's a very large flow stock. There's 2.65 billion shares flow, right? So it's not going to move crazy. And this is the reason why it doesn't trade very well. It's just a very massive stock. But again, very strong today. Looks like it wants to crack out of this 56.37 now. So we'll keep that on there. Towards the bottom, we got plenty of levels. If we lose the low of the pre-market, the next best level I see here is this 54.59, right? We got a nice area of support in there as well. Then below that, which I doubt this thing will take a drop like this unless something happens, or this earnings is overextended, or there's some overreaction. You got some moving average here around 54 as well. That could be great for support. BYND, this one here at the moment, what do we have going on here? So let's remove some of these levels. All right, so we have the high of all time sitting here, which is the high from 2 days ago. Pre-market high at the moment for BYND sitting at 179.20, so we'll mark that down. It's kind of having a little bit of indecision at the moment. Again, it's got some good volume. Daily chart looks great. It has a nice little uptrend here. Again, you have some profit taking, which we knew what was going to happen after it blew through this level here. We're going to mark down this level also. at 186.80, 186.43. Mark that down as well. We'll see what it does today. Again, it's hard to tell what it wants to do here. Obviously, it's looking strong in the pre-market. It's got some good pre-market action, but it can really go either way here on this one. All right, next we have BABA. BABA also has a very strong daily chart. We're looking at this earlier. It looks like it wants to break out and hit this moving average. Towards the top, the new high of the pre-market now is sitting at a 171.10. And then you have this moving average right up here, a couple of cents away, 171.74. I'm going to mark that there because that could be a level of resistance. And then towards the top, if we can break out of that, we have a nice level right in here, 174.95, and then another one all the way up here around 180. So just depending how strong things are, this thing can really take off here. I personally do not like to trade BABA. It just doesn't trade, not my style. Higher price stock doesn't trade too clean for me, but I know a lot of traders that trade this very successfully. But me personally, I'm going to remove it from my watch list. MU has a beautiful daily as well, guys. We're talking about the breakout. Is the price action right now is at a very clean level of possible resistance, right around 30, where the price action is now around 34.80. Above that, we can break out. We have a level here at 33, 35, 38, and another one up here around 35. 98, almost 36 bucks. So again, some nice levels on there. Towards the bottom, I think you got plenty, but we're going to mark down the low of the, actually this moving average would be a perfect area. 34.41, got a moving average coming in right in there on the daily. And then below that, you got plenty moving averages, previous day close, 2 days ago lows in there also. Let's look at the pre-market action. As typical, MU not looking too clean, but again, it's a possible nice breakout if we can get above this high of the pre-market. Next we have AMD. AMD's daily looks very good. We have some very good levels already. I don't think you need to add any more. If you want to add one more, we can add the high of the pre-market just to have that in case we want to get a possible breakout from 31.45, high of the pre-market. Then towards the bottom, plenty of levels, highs and lows from yesterday, previous day close. You got moving averages, just a lot of support in the bottom of this price action right now. So again, daily looks great, has some higher highs, higher lows. Also kind of hitting a level of resistance here. So if it can break out of that, could be a nice little pop over to this area here. Actually, this one is a better level down here. You see this level here, 32.50. That's a better area because you clearly have some resistance and support right on there. So I'd rather mark that down. All right, so that's what we have on AMD. We know they're going to get the volume. Are they going to trade well? Let's look at Cron. Cron is not doing much right now, guys. Again, it's just not really active. So I'm going to remove this one. We got plenty of other ones to watch with some good volume, some good activity. CCL, guys, is one that doesn't trade really well, but it's down quite a bit, 8.9 on some news. Peter was mentioning earlier they're not going to be, there's some kind of travel ban into Cuba. So this has dropped their stock quite a bit. It could be overreaction. Who knows? It could be serious. So let's not have any bias. Low of the pre-market sitting at 47.89. Let's see what that what it does around that level there. We have a level up here around 50.35. Look at that 50.35 too, also being supported here. Again, these levels are an area, guys. They're not going to be exact, but clearly 50.35, that area, you have some activity happening around that level. You also have it here. Look how both of these days use it as a resistance and head right back down. So very nice level. Trying to find something between the price action now and this 50.35 because that's a long way to go. See if we can get in here and find a good level. I'm seeing this one here, 49.42. Reason why I'm picking this one, you got several days heading up here. That's too big. Here we go. So we got this one heading up here, and it's clearly having some resistance there. And you can see here how it sells off. Finally breaks out of it, goes to the next level we have, which is that 50.35. You can see right on there before it breaks out again, goes to the next level where it consolidates as well up here. Okay, so interesting here. Let's see what it does. Actually, let's find out if it loses this low of the pre-market, right? If it loses the low of the pre-market, we have a clean level right down here, 45. Then you also have this date here. You have several days. It's very close to where the price action is now, but I'm going to mark it because, again, it could break from the low of this 47.88 pre-market action now, hit this 47.32, and then bounce back up. So anything is possible. Or if it breaks that 47.32, then things can really head south here. ZYME. Pre-market action is not looking too attractive, guys. Again, it's got 171,000 shares traded. Just not looking too too great, and the daily chart looks horrible. Yeah, let's get rid of this one. Daily chart looks horrible because, again, you can look at these wicks. You got more wicks than bodies. You don't have a clear pattern moving on here. So again, just gonna get rid of this CYME. KR we traded in the past. It can trade very clean, as Peter mentioned before. I do like the way that the daily is setting up. You have a very clean area of support right in here. Could be a possible profit target, 22.46, and you also have low of your pre-market at 22.80. Above this, you have plenty of levels, highs and lows from 2 days ago, previous day close, and you got some moving averages curling down here towards the price action. So I don't think you need to add any more. There is a level here of some kind of support and resistance right around here, around 23.16, but I'm not going to mark that down. I think I'll wait till the pre-market action moves a little bit and see what it provides us here. Pre-market action itself just not looking great. It's pretty much flat. You had a nice little pop here, a nice little drop, but then it's been flat for a while now. It does got some volume, 794,000 shares, but this could be one that we could look out for in our scanners and see if it hits something that we can actually trade. Google, this is the mortgage stock here. Again, it has some possible news of a new stuff launching today. Peter was mentioning about self-driving cars. Again, we could see how that reacts, and if this gets some attention, we could also look at Lyft and Uber and see how those react to that type of news, right? Because it directly affects their core business. So I am going to delete it here. Just not going to watch it. It's too expensive. MLNT, these are the low flow guys down here. So MLNT is definitely very active for the low flow team today. Let's get some levels in here. You could keep these levels down here because they look like they still are very close to what is happening. If this thing can lose it. High of the pre-market looking at 820. Above this, you have a moving average here, which I'm going to mark down, 882. And then another level right all the way up here at 1012. So again, plenty of levels for MLNT. Not a stranger to double digits, right? 10, 12 has been higher than that, I assume. Yep, all the way up to 15. So not a stranger to higher price here. Again, that has been having a couple of days, really good day yesterday, and again today looks like it wants to get a continuation going. But this is a lower flow stock, guys. I think about 8.4 million shares traded. 8.4 million shares float. Be very careful. It is trading very nicely today. EDSA, wow, this thing just keeps ripping. So now it's up 194%. 1.3 million shares traded. Beautiful pre-market action for the low flow team here. I mean, this is what you want to see in a low flow. Now here's the issue with this one. This is, guys, 371 shares float. That means that this thing can drop in a matter of seconds. In a second, this thing can go from 12 to 10. Right? You get in here for ABCD pattern, thinking that, hey, this looks great. ABCD, you get in here, you get in for the breakout, and boom, you're down $2-3, right? That means that you got to be very careful. If you're going to be trading things like this, it's all about risk management, right? Set hard stops, do whatever you have to do. Take just 10 shares, whatever the case may be, so you only lose $100 maybe or something, right? But be very, very careful in the trading these type of stocks. Again, a lot of good traders have lost money in these type of stocks. They'll make good money on this one here consistently, and then they'll come around and play with one of these and blow up a week to a month of really good profits, consistent hard-earned profits on these type of stocks. All right, let's find some levels for it. Let's get some levels in here. So right now, I mean, the high of the pre-market is just going to keep cracking. Looks like I'm going to mark down just 13. I think it's going to just be going above that. Let's go back and look at the daily and see if we can find anything in this price area. Let's go back. EDSA. Yep, we do have some areas right here. So, all right, so we do have some levels. 13 obviously is going to be an area of resistance. You have a 1558. You have another one here, 1430. Towards the bottom, just in case you get a fallen angel, you have 1116. Look how several days they're using that as their support right in there. So again, I think you got plenty of levels in here for this one. Looks like it might want to crack 13 in a couple of minutes. STOK, one that we're going to be watching possibly later today. Again, recent IPO, so just having it here just for entertainment purposes. Let's see, let's get rid of this one here, make this cleaner. All right, and then we have KERN, also a stock that opened up on 2 days ago. You can see here opened up around $10-15 and it's now trading at $63. So it's just crazy. Pre-market action looks okay, not great. 255,000 shares, up 26%. I'm not sure what the flow is on this one because it's just too new at the moment. But again, just have it here for these two IPOs have been really fun to watch. And then today we're expecting WORK. This is Slack to open up as well, so be on the lookout for that. All right, guys. Let's look at some of the stuff you guys might be mentioning here. So CCL going down a bit more. Let's look at that. CCL, yeah, look at that. It's breaking the low of the pre-market here at 47.88. Let's see what it does around this 47.32. What else do we have? Someone mentioned Nvidia and Roku. We'll do those two before we move on and finalize this list. So Nvidia has a beautiful breakout here on the daily, guys. Again, we watched this kind of do higher highs, higher lows on the daily chart, going over all these levels they had here before of resistance. The next resistance level on Nvidia, you got this moving average, which you want to be on the lookout for, 16365, and look at that moving average, just right on the money on these days of consolidating. So again, just perfect. Again, Nvidia's been very strong, has had a couple of pullbacks and a beautiful daily here. So we'll be interested to see what Nvidia does today. Not much going on in the pre-market, but this is one that you might want to watch later on in the mid-morning. Next, we have Roku. Roku has been very strong. We keep talking about Roku. It keeps popping up, consolidating after the pop-up, consolidating again, another pop-up, again, consolidation again, and another pop-up here one more time. High of the pre-market on this one, which I believe is all-time high, is at 108.47. So again, just really strong stock. I know Brian's been watching this very close. He's going to be coming on in a couple of minutes, and we'll ask him if he did a swing trade on this yesterday, because I know he's been watching this stock very closely. All right, guys, but this is my list right here for today. This is what I'll be watching. Thank you guys on YouTube for joining us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow again, 8:30 Eastern time. Have a great trading day and trade safe.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.